I think this has been great. I just wanted to now open the floor for you guys. Again, our audience is kind of commercial brokers, developers and architects here locally in LA and Southern California. But is there anything you guys want to finish off with? Any topic, anything you want to share, provide insight on? Or, I would say one thing maybe as a suggestion is, there's surprisingly a lot of people that don't understand fully the value of financial modeling or feel like they don't have access to it. So I meet brokers and developers all the time that have very subpar financial models that they send over and they go, yep, it's underwritten and this is it. And I'm like, oh, yikes, right? And then there's some developers, and rightfully so, they're bigger shops that tout they have the best underwriting and modeling ever, and they've spent a lot of time in developing and building that. So that might be something you guys want to kind of share with the audience, is how important that is, and finding a good resource locally to help as a broker their clients, if they're a fix and flipper, or they've only developed 10, 20 units and they're now jumping into the 50, 75, 100 unit. It's a completely different space altogether. Or there's some developers that have the experience, but they're busy and they make mistakes too. So I think that might be something you guys could touch upon.
Yeah, and I'll start and then let Chris kind of finish it off. But I think in general, developers they're great at telling the story, selling the dream, showing the vision of what the project is going to be. Mm-hmm. But kind of where they need some help is on the modeling side. Yeah. And so, if you're going out to raise capital, whether that's from lenders or from equity investors, a lot of people, oh, I got my yellow, legal notepad, and here are the numbers. Let me write it out on the board here. Yeah. And that's fine for if you're going for friends and family and country club type money who know you and they believe in you and they're going to do whatever you say. But once you start getting into kind of the larger family offices and private equity shops who don't know you, right? You gotta. There's lots of different things that they're going to look for, right? They're going to look at your track record. Right. They're going to look at your vision for the product, in the project, and then they're going to look at the model, right? Hey, how much capital do you need to raise, and what are the returns on that capital? Okay, and what's the gross IRR and what's the net IRR? Okay, and now let me stress test that model because right off the bat, I'm going to assume that if I'm an investor, right, I'm going to assume you're aggressive on your assumptions, right? So I need to kind of back off, some of those revenues assumptions or increase some of the expense assumptions, or like I said earlier, I want a different structure, right? Instead of a X pref, I want a Y pref, and I want the splits to be different, and you're not going to get that much debt. Or the interest rate's gonna be different, or there's 0 months of IO or instead of 12 months of interest only. So you need to know all this stuff, right? And then you're going to be going to investor meetings, and you want the ability to change stuff on the fly. Oh, you want to assume 5.5% interest instead of 5% interest? Yeah, here you go. Here's how that impacts the model, right? And have built-in sensitivities, so hey, if I build it for this amount instead of that amount, how does this impact the numbers, right? And you're putting a lot of money, you're putting a lot of your own money, you're putting a lot of investor money into these projects, so you need to be confident that they work. And that's where 3E management and top shelf models comes in, because a lot of firms, even huge private equity shops, they have models, right? But time and time again, we hear like, man, every time I open up the model, it's 15 years old. The guy who built it isn't here anymore, and there's all this stuff. I don't even know how to work it, right? And it crashes my computer every time I open it. And so we come in and we can clean it up. Either take their existing model, right? If them, the analyst or the executives are used to using that model, okay, let us come in and clean it up, right, and make it easier to use. Or, man, a lot of times you guys got to trash that model. Here's one off the shelf that has all the functionality and it's not going to crash. And here's, it's going to be a lot easier to use, right? We give everyone an hour of free consultation, right? So that's going to be whether a webinar, for us to go in and show you. I mean, it comes with manuals, right? So you can just read the manual to see how to work the model. I mean, we think it's pretty easy to use, right? But it comes with an hour consultation, and really to help. Hey, some people want just us to walk through them. Some people want to do a deal, underwrite a deal, and then get on a Zoom call with us and share their screen and say, hey, what did I do wrong? And we can help them. Hey, well, you're selling, before you acquire it or something, some issue that is an easy fix, right? So that's kind of what we do with top shelf models, and kind of, the cool thing that I think that, Chris and I spent a ton of time, building out these models, and, the cool thing that the top shelf models has is that we have a custom model builder where basically it's not one model, right? So if you're a office developer, we don't have one office development model. We have 16 or 32 different varieties of that office development model, right? And so you go to this custom model builder, it guides you through a series of questions, right? How many tiers of waterfall do I need? Do I need the ability to refinance the project? Am I going to put mezz debt on the project? Yes or no? And so you kind of, as you answer these questions, it kind of guides you to, okay, hey, based on your specific needs, here's your custom built model, right? And you can buy it or out the website. And again, you have that hour of customization that if you need further customization, right, that could be adding your own logo to it. It could be adding, opportunity zone credits or whatever, different tax credits you need. We can use that hour to, fully customize it to make sure you get exactly what you want out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with everything Eric was saying there. A number of clients that we get, that they have gone to, maybe they're a small scale developer, they've gone to an equity shop or they've gone to a lender. They presented, as you kind of put it, that really rudimentary model. And the lender or equity shop just looked at them and said, we're not even going to listen to you until you have an actual model. Yeah. We had tons of it. And then they're frantically calling us and they're like, hey, we need this 3 weeks ago. And, that happens all the time. And so what I always say, and we had a client that, hired us, I want to say last year or the year before, he was like, I'm great. I'm amazing at developing stuff. I want to just focus on what I am amazing at. And I'm going to hire other people to do all the rest of it. Eric and my approach is we're really good at the modeling. We're amazing at the modeling. But I can't go and architecturally design a multifamily complex. That's not my forte.
Right.
And so we're going to focus on the finance side, let other people focus on what they're great at, and we'll be a resource for you there. And so, across the board, use the resources out there, use the experts around you, be willing to spend money to make sure you are the best that you can be, and you won't regret it at the end of the day. It'll make your fundraising experience a lot more smooth. People will ask you questions you hadn't thought of beforehand. Just use the tools that are out there. They're all out there for a reason.
That's awesome. All great advice. I think what I'm going to do is put links to you guys on how our audience can reach you, because I definitely see a lot of demand locally here. So I'm glad that you guys are available to them. And so, obviously over Zoom remotely, you guys could kind of take those requests and consult. And you guys obviously offer your services in other cities. So I think there's going to be a healthy amount of demand here as well. Yeah. And again, I'm not knocking the people without the financials. I think you said it right, Chris, is that, the difficulty in development is kind of you take ownership in that entire process. And so if you're very good at kind of running that ship and understanding some nuances that are required, or you hit some red flags before and you have all that experience to avoid them, that's all super valuable. But you might not have a background in financial modeling, so that's going to kind of ruin the whole thing, right? But every leg of that is important. The architects, the engineers, the land use consultants, for us to even just bypass and get the proper entitlement. So all important. So I wanted to thank Eric and Chris. You guys have been awesome guests. Like I said, I'm going to put all your contact information on the show notes, and hoping that we get better financial modeling developments here in Los Angeles. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right. Bye.